All right. Hello. Welcome to GenXAdulting. This is episode 3. And today we are going to be talking about music. Um, the musical influences from when we grew up, the various concerts we've been to, the different uh, music our kids are into, the concerts we've gone to with them, and some of our house bands, uh, which we all like as a family. And we'll kind of see where that goes. So I'm going to kick it off asking you, what was your first concert and how old were you?
So my first concert was Brian Adams, and I would think I was either seventh or eighth grade. I want to say eighth grade. I saw him at Pine Knob Amphitheater in Michigan.
Hmm.
I don't think, well, it wasn't called Pine Knob for a while, but I think it's back to being called Pine Knob again. But that was my first concert, and I was hooked right from that. And that's when he was in his prime 80s. It
Yeah,
was
he was
all
popular.
so popular.
How old were you again?
So if it was eighth grade, I was probably 13.
Okay, yep, yep.
Um, so that was my first concert, and then I just started going to concerts. My next concert was in excess
Mm,
in Portland. I don't remember what venue, but it was in Portland. It was inside, maybe the Schnitzer Hall. I'm not sure, but
mm.
it was in excess. It was
We saw
awesome.
Robert Cray there. That was awesome.
Yeah, well, yeah, we did. It was a great venue.
Yeah.
So in excess, and then I can't remember who I saw after that because then that just led me to in high school, I saw the Grateful Dead for the first time.
Hmm.
I'm sure I saw people in between there, but I can't think of who it was. Like Brian Adams and In Excess are really standing out to me.
Interesting.
What about you?
My first concert was the Grateful Dead, the Giant Stadium. I think it was, oh man, it was either, I think it was 1986 or 1987. It was the Bob Dylan tour.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the Dead and Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it was the fall, Madison Square Garden, seeing the Grateful Dead again.
Yeah.
And then growing up on the East Coast, it gets cold, so there's not a whole lot going on outdoors wise. So the following spring, I think it was the Dead again, and then got into the whole Crosby, Stills and Nash,
Mm-hmm.
Neil Young, and where I grew up, right around New York City, we had tons of acts that came through all the time. So we
Mm-hmm.
always had um, a lot of options.
Yeah. I think once the Dead started in my life, once the Dead became, once you're a Deadhead, you're always a Deadhead. So after I saw my first concert, I was hooked. Saw the Dead as much as I could. On the West Coast, it would have been a lot of it in Northern California,
Hmm.
in San Francisco area, Shoreline, Cal Expo, Oakland Coliseum, the Warfield. I saw Jerry Garcia band at the Warfield. And then in Oregon, it was at U of O and
Yeah, awesome.
yeah, at
Yeah.
Autzen, and then in Portland. So, but then of course I saw Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, Crosby, Stills and Nash. Um, I saw Blue Oyster Cults.
If those guys could have kept their friendship together, it would have been a lot better, right?
Yeah,
Because seeing CSNY, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young,
yeah,
versus just CSN,
yeah,
slightly different,
very,
different catalog of songs.
yeah.
Still amazing. It was
Yeah.
wonderful,
Oh,
but
amazing! I don't think I ever saw Neil Young on his own.
really,
I don't think so. I saw,
wow,
what I did see, that I cherish was I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan.
yep. I got to see him too once.
Yeah,
Amazing. Got to see David Bowie
absolutely.
once too.
Yeah, that's cool.
And David Bowie, yeah, that was. I don't know if I should share too many details of the event, but um, it was fun.
You
It was
also
fun.
saw Pink Floyd. I never saw Pink Floyd.
Yeah, Pink Floyd's pretty slick. Not
Mhm.
obviously not in their prime, but got to see Pink Floyd. I forget
Mhm.
which, maybe the Delicate Sound of Thunder tour or something like that.
I don't know.
Late 80s, Giant Stadium, a lot of fun.
And then we saw the Allman Brothers a lot
Yep, yep,
in New York City.
yep.
I'm trying to think. We have our ticket stubs displayed here in the house. So, we saw just a lot of jam bands like Blues Traveler.
Yep.
I saw Joan Osborne. She was amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah, she was amazing. I love her.
She has
Um,
such a good voice. Such a bluesy
Absolutely.
voice. She
Yes,
is good.
she's great. Um, yeah, so I mean, once I saw the Dead, well, I mean, obviously it started with Brian Adams. I was hooked to live music. But once I saw the Dead, that was it for me.
What was your last concert you've seen?
Was Billy Strings.
Yeah, good answer.
We just went and saw
Yeah,
Billy Strings.
yeah.
Phenomenal.
Don't overplay it. We don't want people going.
Yeah, but
Unbelievable.
unbelievable and just refreshing and unique and
Yeah.
amazing.
And they
Amazing.
have in the Grateful Dead, right? It's called Shakedown Street. It's the parking lot scene.
Mhm.
There's a shakedown scene at the Billy shows.
Yes.
Very cool.
It's cool. I did a little shopping. No, it was very, very um just encouraging, and I was excited to see a youngin continue on with
Yeah, yeah.
the whole vibe. His music is not the Grateful Dead. It's his own unique music, but the vibe is very similar.
If
You know,
there were points that during the show where if you closed your eyes, you would think it's Garcia Grisman playing, and very,
that's
very
true.
cool.
That's true. So that was my most recent concert.
Here's a not a trick question, but what's a concert you've been to where you I don't want to say were disappointed, but your expectations weren't met, or it was just different from what were used to. And I
Okay.
have a very distinct answer for my own self,
Okay.
but I'm
I'll be
curious.
curious if it's the same, but and this is coming from a deadhead that's I probably have been to over 100 shows. I don't know, but I've been to a lot of shows. I in the last year, I guess, saw Bob Weir
Hmm.
and
Wolf Brothers.
Wolf Brothers. I've seen them before. I guess for me, it's just too slow now.
Hmm.
It's just too slow. And
Interesting.
yeah, so I'm not saying it was a bad concert. I just, it wasn't what I expected. And I didn't enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed other concerts of his.
Yeah, we did leave a little early.
Well, I wasn't going to admit that.
Yeah, well, I'll admit it. We'll have to own that. But it
Yeah.
was slow and it's just a trip. I
Yeah,
agree.
I'm not saying it's bad, and there were people there that were having the best time, and I'm not saying we weren't having a great time, but I don't know. For me in that moment, it didn't fit for me at all.
Yeah,
I was expecting more.
yeah.
So that's for me. What about you?
Mine would have to be the Eagles.
Oh, I
And
saw the Eagles.
we saw them together. And
We did. Oh, we
yeah,
did. We
we saw
did.
them
I've
together.
seen them twice.
Yeah, I saw them once. I
Yes.
could have gone again, right? But once was enough.
Mhm.
And if you listen to the Eagles in your car or your house on the stereo, I honestly think they're amazing, right? They're one of the best bands of all time. But when you see them live, because when you hear them in your car or whatever, you can easily drive down the highway 100 miles an hour, Take It Easy or whatever songs, but when
Mhm.
you see them live, I found it totally slow. Kind of what you're describing with Weir and Wolf Brothers, that was my experience. I was like, let's go. And it was just like, okay, well, let's all sit down and kind of sway and hold hands and that kind of
Okay.
thing.
Okay. So listen, I think what you missed there is the Eagles. I saw them twice. They sounded exactly how they do when you hear them on the radio.
And it doesn't translate
But
though for me.
no, for you, it doesn't translate because when you hear them on the radio, you're doing something. You're driving down the street in your car. You're, whatever. You're listening to them usually while you're doing something in your life. But to sit and just listen to them, you need more stimuli than just listening to them.
100%. So if you compare that to a Dead show or a Jerry show or a Tom Petty show or the Allman Brothers or
Right.
Santana, hell, even Bob Dylan,
Right.
um,
I guess this
that's
is
just moving. Whereas it was almost like you're sitting in the backyard on hay bales and just
but I
chilling.
but I think for a lot of people that is what there's a ton of people that don't move at concerts.
Oh
That
no,
go
yeah,
to
yeah.
sit. So I guess just to catch us up, we've seen Tom Petty, we've seen Santana, we've seen the Black Crowes, we've seen Bob Dylan.
Hmm.
There was another one I just lost it. But so we have a lot of the music we see, we're dancing, we're moving. Um, but for we Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, yeah,
We've seen them 3 times. We've seen Nickelback.
yeah, yeah.
They
They're
were
actually
they were
pretty good.
great.
They were good.
The whole
Yeah,
Nickelback hate is pretty much just like they've come back around.
I think it's fake hate.
Yeah.
They're actually pretty good.
They're great. So what we did is once we had kids for their birthday and sometimes for Christmas, but definitely for their birthday, we would give them tickets to a concert. So our oldest son's first concert was Bruce Springsteen in Giant Stadium.
Yeah.
He was 5 years old. And our daughter's first concert was Red Hot Chili Peppers
Yep.
in the Meadowlands, and she was 6 years old.
Yep.
And then our youngest first concert was actually the Fresh Beat Band, which was a show he watched. Remember,
Where was
we
that?
took him. That was in Miami. That was in Miami.
Oh man,
But then,
I can't remember that.
yeah, but then his next real concert was Dead and Company in Atlanta.
Yeah.
That was really his, and he was 7, I think. But then for all of their birthdays, we just continued to give them, especially our older 2.
Yeah.
We continued to give them tickets. So by the time they, were in high school, they'd seen tons of concerts, been to a lot of live music. Dylan, our youngest, hasn't been to as many concerts as our older 2.
Yeah.
He doesn't have as much of an interest right now.
Yeah. Part of that's though living in South Florida.
That's what
our
it is.
musical scene kind of sucks here.
Yes.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, that happened as
You've got to travel.
Yes, we left the Northeast. We have taken him to some concerts, but he's in that weird stage right now, ending middle school. He's not really interested right now.
Mm-hmm.
The interest will be coming back in high school and college.
Yeah.
So
I do remember when you were pregnant with him, Nathan and I went to see Further at Bayfront
in Miami.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was their Further's first show of the tour and first show in general.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
It was cool.
I forget how old would that have made
guys...
him. He was probably 8th grade, I think.
So he was was 12. He turned 13 right after Dylan was born.
Yeah. Okay.
So he would have been 12.
Yeah.
So with the kids, so what happened is with our older son and our youngest daughter, once she was around 15, he started taking her to music festivals with him because he was really into Bass Nectar and that whole festival scene with DJs and all of that. So he took her to Ultra, and they went to Ultra.
Took me too.
A few times. You didn't go to Ultra, but he took you to Bass Nectar. Yeah. But what that did for them is it's a hard time to stay close for siblings to stay close sometimes, especially a boy and a girl. But what it did for them was it gave them something in common to do together. Her being 15, he was, I think, his senior year. Maybe she was 14. I don't know. He was finishing high school. So she might have, I don't remember when that actually happened. He might have been finishing high school, or it was when he was a freshman in college. He took her.
It was whatever age it was where I think she wasn't technically allowed.
She wasn't allowed. She needed to borrow an ID.
A fake ID saying she was 15 or 16, something like that. Yeah.
She had to be 16.
Yeah.
So, but then that continued for them. Is they continued to go to music festivals. They went to Okeechobee. They've gone to one in Atlanta, and then seen Bass Nectar.
They went to Sweetwater 420.
Yes.
Which is a year ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to go to that. But
I don't think they're doing it this year. I've not seen any promos for it. There is some big event, I think, in Nashville. Yeah, it was on nugs.net looking for streaming music.
Yeah.
Billy Strings is on tonight in St. Augustine, which is, I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, there's some event in Nashville tonight, but the 420 Fest isn't happening, which is a shame. Last year was Joe Russo.
It was amazing.
It's a whole bunch. Goose, I think, was there. A bunch of jam bands.
Yeah, because we listened to it and watched it in real time. And then they would see Bass Nectar every New Year's Eve together. So, which you attended
Yeah.
some of those. Dylan and I would go along to wherever it was. And while
Yep.
you guys were at the concert, Dylan and I would have our New Year's Eve dinner together
Yep.
and then cheers each other at midnight. And then you guys would all come in after the concert to the hotel room.
Yeah.
And those were really cool memories.
I do think part of, I think the conversation today really is about that, right? So, um, it's almost like, they say the families that pray together stay together. It's almost
Right.
like families that listen in my world or our world, families that enjoy music together stay together.
Yes.
And to your point, so Nathan and I would go see Bass Nectar on New Year's, which was completely foreign to me, right? I'm a
Right.
quote unquote deadhead. That's not my scene, but
Right.
musically, Nectar was pretty phenomenal. And I remember the first show where where'd we see him? In Birmingham, Alabama. And we get there early and got the rail. The guys needed the rail. And I get now why they wanted the rail. The rail's to hold on to, right? As soon as the first notes drop, kids just start rolling their heads, and it
Headbanging?
wasn't
No?
head banging. It was pretty wild, pretty wild. And it's reminiscent of like a Dead show or a Jerry show or any band that really connects with their fans. Tom Petty's phenomenal, right? Allman Brothers are phenomenal in terms of, you've got the music, and the music plays the crowd and the crowd plays the music type of thing.
Well, yeah, it's the energy. And
Yeah.
that's probably what the issue you had with the Eagles is you felt that it was a low vibe, low energy show from the crowd.
100%.
From the
The
crowd.
crowd's feedback was just not
Right.
there. I think you maybe hit it. Yeah.
But for those people, that was a highlight for them. Like the way we experience live music is mind, body, and soul. We're movers, we're shakers. We feed off the energy of the audience as they feed off of us. It's an experience for us.
It's not even, but that's not to say we're not dancing around and shit like that all over. Like at Billy Strings, we didn't get up and move, but it was chilling in the
True.
seat, moving around. But
Yes.
that's kind of a bluegrassy jam type of thing. And not all bands require you to be dancing around and stuff. Think about Tom Petty, right? I think we were both still blown away by Tom Petty 20 years later.
Yeah.
We saw him in Michigan, then we saw him at the what the hell is it? The Garden State. What the hell was that place? It's on the Turnpike.
Is it in Camden?
No, it's Garden State Performing Arts Center, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's named
In
now.
New Jersey.
In New Jersey, but that's a small venue. To see Tom Petty
Yeah.
there was amazing.
Yeah. Tom Petty always put on a phenomenal show. Tom Petty loved his
Yeah.
fans. He connected with them. One of the best shows, honestly. But I just remembered that I saw Fleetwood Mac, and Fleetwood Mac was not Fleetwood Mac. I'm sorry. I saw Stevie Nicks, and
Okay.
Stevie Nicks. It was a wonderful show. She was amazing,
Hmm.
and the energy was great. But it wasn't a show that I was getting up and.
Yeah.
But I thoroughly felt it and enjoyed it. So I think it's just all, But now our youngest has been to Red Hot Chili Peppers because we recently went as a family. So for Christmas, a lot of times we'll give tickets to the family
Yeah.
for one of the Christmas gifts and for a later date.
What's crazy is if you take a family to a concert today, you're looking at $1,000.
Yeah,
Give,
I mean, you
give or take a
could.
couple hundies.
You could. I mean, I think with those we were under that, but it's very expensive.
Yeah.
It is very expensive. It's crazy. Everything's very expensive, but like you said, it's bonded us as a family. We still go to see Grateful Dead cover bands with our older two. Dylan also has gone.
Hmm.
It's something we do together.
Hmm.
It's a family event that we do together that keeps us all close. We all relate to music. All of our kids love music,
Hmm.
even though Dylan isn't into necessarily to going and listening to what we like. He's very much into his own music.
Well, think about it. Last night, picking him up, he was out with his friends. We picked him up late last night. As soon as we get in the car,
put on
Can I get
music.
the aux cord?
Yeah.
Drops in his
Well, no,
music.
he wanted to, that's old school. He wanted to connect his
Yeah,
phone.
yeah, yeah,
And then it was their music on the way, the whole way home.
yeah,
So he's very much connects to music, loves music. I think, I don't know what I would do without music. It's been such an integral part of
yeah,
my entire existence,
yeah.
and how even raising children, we've utilized it.
You know what's funny is, into music as we are, none of us can play an instrument.
No,
And I think I own 2 or 3 guitars, a
more
couple of
than that.
basses, a
Uh,
mandolin.
yeah.
The only thing I can do is harmonica, which
Mm-hmm.
is very semi-eccentric or
You
weird or
can.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But Nathan actually was a DJ,
Yes.
DJ through college, and actually, he's awesome.
Yes.
You know, it's
No,
and he's not doing it right now, but I think he could fall right back in and be really good at it.
absolutely. I would say out of all of us, Nathan had
Yeah,
the most musical talent, amazing DJ,
yeah,
and great timing, all of that. Hey, I can play the congas.
true, true.
We do own those. And we have a piano, but no one can really
Yeah,
play it.
yeah,
I don't know. We love music so much that we surround ourselves with instruments in the hopes that one of us would figure it out. I mean, Nathan and Kaya had piano lessons, and
yeah.
Nathan attributes a lot of stuff with his DJing
Yeah, he didn't
to
like it
those.
as a kid, I don't
No,
think. But
no,
if you ask him
not
now,
at
he's
all.
like, "Hey, that really helped me."
Yes.
He knows how to count, keep a
Mm-hmm.
beat, all of that stuff.
Yeah, no, neither one of them liked it. But, and then Dylan didn't. The thing with Dylan being so young compared to them is by the time Dylan was born, he was being dragged to all of their sporting events.
Yeah.
And, he was just that kid where there just wasn't time to make, I feel bad now. I know he doesn't care and he would have hated
Oh,
it.
he's ecstatic about it.
I mean, he's fine. Trust me. He's completely fine with everything he has. But so there are people that aren't music listeners. And I always find that interesting,
Hmm.
or that don't have a band they're into, or that it hasn't spoken to them. Like, I find the whole thing with Taylor Swift to be so interesting, because I was just thinking about this the other day. Taylor Swift, honestly, in my opinion, is the modern day Shakespeare for this generation, I guess. But when I say generation, people relate to her from age 5 to 80. She doesn't even really have an age that she covers everybody. So the reason I say that Taylor Swift is this generation's Shakespeare is because her fans don't just listen to her music. They listen to what she's saying. They listen to her poetry. Her lyrics are poetry, and they dissect it and they
Oh,
analyze
well,
it, and they relate to it. It makes them laugh. It makes them cry. They feel it. Like if you were reading literature that you connect to. It's literally poetry put to music. And I think the artists who maybe put her down, or people that put her down, but especially other artists that put her down, it's just jealousy, because to write the way she does, to be able to write these songs, and there's so many of them, there's so much inside of her that she writes about. It's such a God-given talent, and not every artist can do it. So many artists can just be made to sound good, whether it's with effects, or what they look good, they look the part. But for Taylor Swift, it's coming from inside of her, and then it it comes out, and so it's nothing that anyone can ever kill or compare themselves to, because it's so unique to just who she is.
it's the comparison to Shakespeare I find fascinating. Um, Everything you just said I find fascinating, because I don't know if I've ever heard
Yeah.
any of her songs. I do admire the social phenomenon she's become,
Hmm.
and even yesterday or whenever it was recently, she just dropped some album in the middle of the night, I think.
Yep.
And by the morning, the news was all about the lyrics
Mhm.
and who she's dissing on or calling out and
Mhm.
who she's referring to,
Mhm.
and this whole Swiftie phenomenon. And they want her to endorse a president so that whoever she endorses, they think will
Right.
win.
Right.
This is crazy. I'll have to at least check it out. As a musical, as a fan of music, but the Shakespeare comparison, and that's pretty. It feels kind of, I don't know. It's wild. I'm blown away by that.
Well, when I say that, I don't mean literally she writes like that her l
No, I know what you mean. It elicits a visceral response from the people that are paying attention, I
right,
guess.
but not just to her music or her voice or her performance, but literally to what she has written. It's
It, yeah, no, I think where you're going, and um, from what I've seen, so she writes about, um, she was talking about, I think recently, I pick all this up in whatever I read about it, but I guess she's had conflict with Kim Kardashian, probably because the Kanye and that whole dickhead movie pulled at the Grammys or whatever it was.
no, it's more than that, but yes.
Yeah, there's probably a whole lot more than that. And
Yes.
then the whole recording, yeah. So it's crazy. I know this shit because I have a
Right.
very minor interest in it. But I guess she talked about she moved out of country, rented a place for a year, and
She
wasn't talking to anybody. Really went into a deep dark spot or place with all this, um, which so she feels it, right? She takes it to heart, and then her outlet is the lyrics
right.
and the music.
She is a writer she is a poet. I really believe that 100%,
Hmm.
who happens to sing and play musical instruments. I think her first I could be totally wrong. I don't know her. But
She
just
seems like a genuinely decent person.
oh, yeah, she does.
This whole
Yeah.
Travis Kelsey thing and the Chiefs thing, and the other players that have met her and their
Mhm.
families have only spoken very highly of her.
Mhm.
Um, someone talked about how in the booth, how she actually was cleaning shit up in the booth, putting garbage away,
Mhm.
helping, so she's a normal person. Her parents are normal. She just happens to have this phenomenal talent and ability to, um I don't know what it is, but to drive it to uber success. It's amazing, actually.
Well, she's an incredibly hardworking person.
Hmm.
She works her ass off. But I think a lot of it is that she's willing to take the risk to put out there what's inside of her head, what's inside of her heart, and she has such a talent to write. And then she just happens to also be a talented singer and musician because she plays musical instruments.
Does she? What does she play?
She plays guitar. I think she plays piano. Again, I'm not
You're a Swifty.
I'm you know what's
I
funny?
think you're a closet Swifty, and it's coming out.
Maybe, but I don't know. Now that
No,
see,
I'm just kidding.
that's like somebody saying like that you're a deadhead because you know a little bit about the Grateful
Yeah,
Dead. I'm not going to say that because there are real Swifties and they know what they're talking about. I
yeah,
don't know what I'm talking about, except this is my opinion
yeah,
from what I've experienced. I have a daughter who is I would say, a Swiftie. She loves Taylor Swift.
yeah,
Um, so I just think this whole Eras tour is phenomenal. She's performing for 3.5 hours straight.
yeah.
It's just phenomenal.
And
Even
she again, I don't know shit either. I know less
right.
than shit
It's
and less than you.
you're hearing two Gen Xers talk about
Yeah,
Taylor Swift.
yeah. This is pretty wild. I didn't think we'd be talking about this as a topic,
Yeah.
but um, I think I would say what I admire about her is she is a young woman who's driving her career. She seems to be very much in charge of the decisions that are being made, and I think, you watch the news when she's doing things, and I think she's genuinely a decent person. As she goes around the globe, and there's different, I can't even, I'm just trying to think. I think somebody maybe die at one of her shows, or en route to it or something, but something tragic happened, and
Yeah,
she took pause to acknowledge it and
absolutely.
kind of maybe honor it or just at least acknowledge it,
Yeah.
which a lot of performers, I don't know if they would do that or not. I don't know.
I think that she definitely has good karma on her side. And
Yeah.
I think seems to be a very decent person. She's very close with her parents.
Yep.
They're with her. They've been guiding her, I'm sure, protecting her. I think she's probably a family person. I think she's got good morals and
Yep.
values. But then on top of that, I really do think her true talent is writing, and she's a poet. She's a modern day poet,
Mhm.
and her vehicle for that is music and performance. And what's so amazing is you have her fans truly listening to the words of what she's writing, and like I said, analyzing it and reading it and just appreciating it in a different way than you would just a song that you happen to like, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
There is a certain danger with that in that if you put too much emphasis in what she's writing and saying and seeing, that you go a little off, you can go a little crazy. Because I do think she has a huge influence, but
Yeah, but her stuff, I don't think she's written anything that's gonna be,
no, no, no.
you know.
You know, well,
So I know it sounds crazy what I said, but I do think she is the modern day. I do think Taylor Swift is the modern day Shakespeare, and I'm sure that people would think I'm crazy for saying that, but I 100% stand by that.
you know, it reminds me. We were saying Nathan's the most talented. Kaya sang. Kaya sang in a
Yes. Oh my
band.
gosh.
We totally forgot
Yes.
about it.
Yes.
And she wrote lyrics.
Yes.
So, and that was fun. I think that's where I get some of my admiration of Taylor Swift, is because Kaya was in a band, and it's
Yeah.
hard,
Yes.
right? And if you're in a band, you're up there on a stage, and if you're pretty at all, or attractive at all, you people snipe. You're a target. You've got a target on your back now, and that's a Taylor Swift phenomenon, right? That one jackass at the Grammys or whatever, she had raving success and won an award or album of the year, whatever it was. But we saw that even with Kai, where singing, you know, you're out there, so
Yes.
it's not an easy thing.
No, I can't believe we forgot that. So our daughter did sing in 7th and 8th grade. She was a lead singer of a band.
Yeah,
And that was an incredible time. And just to watch her get up there and know the lyrics and know how to perform it, and then later on to write some of her own lyrics. What a great experience that was. Like you said, hard work, challenging. So to have that be a career move and then to bring it to such stardom is just mind blowing,
yeah,
But I mean, look at Bob Dylan, right? I mean, what a lyricist there. And but I'm not comparing him to Shakespeare
yeah.
because I think that the reason
Well, Robert Hunter, Bob
yeah,
Dylan,
hmm
yeah,
great lyricist. We named our son Dylan after Bob Dylan.
yeah,
Amazing lyricist. And you would say Robert Hunter's lyrics have reached tens of thousands of people of Deadheads, right?
yeah,
So you could compare it, right? Swifties and Deadheads. You could say, but see, with the Dead, it's different because what got me with the Dead, and I think so many people, was the music, was the musicians, especially Jerry
yeah,
Garcia playing guitar,
yeah,
and then the lyrics, right? For me, I can speak. It was the music and then the lyrics. For
yeah.
Taylor Swift, it's the lyrics first. Like they are reading it like a book.
Hmm.
So that's what I find so interesting. Now, Bob
Well,
Dylan,
are her lyrics cryptic? Like Bob Dylan tells a story, right? Robert Hunter tells a story, but he also leaves you hanging,
right?
and it's very open for interpretation.
Yeah,
John Perry Barlow, the other half of the lyrics for the Dead,
right,
right? The
right,
Bobby side of things.
right,
He tells a story. Mexicali Blues,
right.
Me and My Uncle. These are stories that you can kind of
Yes,
travel along and see. But then you go to Hunter with Terrapin Station. It's
right.
like, okay, I
Yeah.
got kind of halfway there, but what's the rest of this tale?
So she more than tells a story. And yes,
Really
there's a lot of it's cryptic. Yes, she takes you on a ride.
interesting.
It's you should check it out. You should really check her out, honestly.
Boy, that's a leap. I will, just because I don't think I'm missing out on something, because I don't, but she's got something going there, right?
Oh,
So,
yes.
in to transcend the generations, kind of like what you were talking about earlier, there has to
Yes.
be some talent, something there
Oh, yeah.
that's good for everybody. Because the
Yeah.
Dead are like that. The Dead are, when we've fortunately we've got to see them live on stage, and that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Um, and when I hopped on, I think I was 15 years old, and when it was over, it was probably what, 25, 26 or something. I don't even know, maybe a little bit,
Um,
when like the last show,
I
95,
think we were 24.
24, yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and but there were lots of young kids there.
Yeah.
So there were kids all the way up to
Yes.
old timers.
Yes. Oh, yeah, the Dead transcended generations, but that was, I think, a lot of it also family handing it down to family like we've done with our kids. But then they bring friends,
Yeah.
and then there's new deadheads born
Well,
every day.
like, even going to Nectar, I was literally, there were me and 4 or 5 other dads there my age, and we looked like narcs,
Yeah.
right? Because it's pretty funny when there's cops standing there and you're walking around the halls, and everyone's slightly intoxicated with whatever anybody's
Yes.
on.
Yes.
And, I always had this guilty feeling of, I know these cops think I'm a narc, but and the kids thought I was a narc. Well, the
Yeah.
cops might have thought, okay, this guy's undercover or just some weirdo, or he's selling drugs. And the kids, I think, thought I was a narc. It was pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. But I think it goes to, as far as you getting included in that, you being invited and brought into their world, because
Yeah.
our Grateful Dead world was also a lot of, there was drugs, there was alcohol,
Hmm.
there was all kinds of stuff going on. The Bass Nectar and that whole DJ music festival world, same thing. Drugs, alcohol, a lot going on.
Very indifferent drugs too, though.
Different drugs.
Yeah.
I mean, to
It's a trip.
me, it seems harder drugs.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm not judging. But for your son to and your daughter to include you in that, I think is such a
Oh, it's
testament.
priceless.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
testament to the relationship you've built
Yeah.
with them. They trust you to bring you into that world that's so foreign. You're one
Yeah.
of 4 or 5 men your age. Everyone else is kids
Yeah.
on different drugs, probably.
Yeah.
So it just, I think, showed such a level of trust that they had for
And
you.
no, I agree. And it was awesome. It's priceless memories. And actually, it gets you closer to their friends as well. Like, we saw Nectar in Atlanta underneath the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, I think it was, in the basement. And we were probably 20 feet from the stage. In order to do that, you have to get there 3 or 4 hours early. So you're just standing there. So we're just chilling. And it was fun.
Yeah.
That was cool.
No, I think music definitely has been a way. We started the kids with music. Well, we started with music. I should say what bonded us as a couple.
Yeah.
Well, as friends. We were
Yeah.
friends for over 3 years before we got together. Very good friends. What bonded us as friends was the Dead
Hmm.
and seeing live music.
Hmm.
So we would do that together, do that with groups of friends. Like, we never did it just the two of us when we were friends, but with groups of friends, all that. And then that commonality of our love for the Grateful Dead and for music has continued through our entire 32 years of being together. We just went to Tampa last weekend and saw Billy Strings, just the two of us. It's something that we have, that through everything, through raising kids, through all the stuff that goes on in marriage, we've had that music that's kept us bonded.
I want to ask you a question in a second, but just going back to the origins of, say, us and music, we did get to see Phish.
Mm,
What was that, 1992 or 3,
yeah.
in the Brit Ballroom on the campus of
I think it was,
Southern Oregon State College at the time. Now it's Southern Oregon University. And we got to see Phish before Phish was Phish, when they were doing the college tours and the bar tours,
mhm.
and jumping on trampolines and playing vacuums and shit. That was pretty wild stuff.
I think it was 92. I think there was 100 people We were in like a little, almost like the size of a gymnasium, and there was a stage.
It was like
Uh,
an elementary school
yeah,
or an old Catholic elementary school cafeteria with the wooden stage and the curtain in the background.
yeah.
100 people, maybe 200 people.
I don't even think there was 200 people there. I don't know.
Our friend Elisa was
Promoter.
the promoter. Yeah, she brought in Phish, um, and even a local Eugene band called 9 Days Wonder was pretty cool.
They weren't there the same night though.
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
They had come a different time.
I love 9 Days
Oh,
Wonder.
they were great.
And then do you remember Renegade
Yeah,
Saints?
totally.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
But
What were
Fish,
Renegade Saints? Were they an offshoot of 9 Days, or were they
I don't
different? Because
remember.
the 9 Days had, I want to say, the bassist who was the primary singer, I think. I don't know. A long
I
time
don't
ago.
know. I don't know. But Fish, seen Fish with 100 people. They were so young. They jumped on the trampolines.
Yeah.
Like my drink was on the stage,
Yeah.
and they're right there. Yeah, they're right in front of me.
Well, what was cool about that is, and this is going way back to before the whole micro craft brewery thing really blew
Yeah,
up, right?
yeah,
People just, today it's amazing, right? You go to Total Wine, there's
yeah.
hundreds of choices. Back then it was pretty small. And I recall, I think it was, we got like, there was either a full or a pony keg or something
Yeah.
from Sierra Nevada Brewing,
Yes.
which was in Chico at the time, I think, Chico, California.
I remember.
And so we could get it through the local distributor.
Mhm.
But yeah, there was a little beer garden there and other things. And
Yes.
you're right. My beer was on the stage and sitting there looking up at Trey and Gordon, and it was
Crazy.
fucking nuts, really.
It
Yeah.
really does not get better than that moment.
Yeah.
Have we seen Fish
No,
since? We've
no.
never seen Fish because, well, that was before
We
we watched their movement,
Yeah.
and it took off like the
Yeah.
Dead. And there's, of course, Fish heads, diehard Fish heads.
Yeah.
We just never that to see. It's like seeing the Grateful Dead with 100 people, and like I don't know. I guess we could have continued that, but we were just we're more Deadheads, than Fish heads.
Yeah.
It's a different sound. I like Fish.
I love
Yeah, but it's
I
a
love
different
Fish,
sound.
but it's a lot. And it was a lot of things were going on back then, I think.
Well, yeah, we were
that made
having
it.
kids.
No, I mean, even in college though, we didn't jump on the Fish train. It was just a different scene. And it was, even like the Dead back then, the last few shows, it had really changed. The drugs that people were bringing to the shows had changed. It was just different. It was,
Yeah.
just different. And same with Fish. Fish was a lot of Molly and X, whatever. They're the same thing, I guess, but just different.
Yeah. And then I think for us during our 20s, we got married, we started having kids.
Yeah.
So you're not just going to go run off and
Yeah.
see concerts or shows like you used to.
Yeah.
But that was something. But to go back to, so we've had music as a constant in our marriage always to come back to.
Yeah.
It's been that safe space we can always go back to, the thing that can bond us together when everything's crazy. And then we gave that to our children when they were young. They acquired such a love of music, and then it bonded them together to have their own relationships.
Yeah.
And separate from us. And then now as a family, we're all bonded together with music. So we each have our own relationships individually, and then we experience it together.
Yep.
It's really kept us close. It's one of the things that's kept us close as a family is music.
Yeah.
There's no question.
No doubt.
There's no question
Well,
about that.
Yeah, I mean, just the other day, I think I was telling you, I get a text from Nathan about, hey, check out this Joe Russo stuff. It's crazy. It was crazy. It was very good.
Yeah.
The question I was thinking of, I don't know how old Kaya was, but I know you've been down to like the Hard Rock and
Oh,
all these different shows, right? You guys went
oh my
to
gosh. Let me start naming
Harry
those.
Styles or whatever.
No. Let me. Okay, so, oh my goodness, I forgot about that whole part.
It's a whole generation.
So Kaya, I took Kaya to,
Phase.
yep, I took Kaya to every One Direction concert from the first one to
That's
the
what it was.
last one they did. That was awesome. What they're such talents. They really are such talents, and such great people. But to see them perform, they were in their teens. Some of them were
Yeah.
in like 16, I think
Yeah.
17, and then to they watch them evolve as they have in their own solo careers has been really cool. So we saw One Direction, we saw Rihanna. Do you remember that we took Kaya for her birthday and we dragged Nathan with us? Dylan wasn't born yet, to Hannah Montana Miley Cyrus concert. Do you remember that? It was for Kaya's
Oh,
birthday.
I don't know. Did
Mm-hmm.
I go? Where
Oh
was
yeah,
it?
we dragged Nathan. It was down at the PNC Bank Center. Is that where?
Okay.
Yeah,
Sunrise.
Sunrise.
Yeah.
And it was the Hannah Montana
God, I
concert. Yeah.
vaguely remember. I think I remember screaming, right? Where the girls just
Oh,
screaming and
yeah,
out of control.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was the kids. There was kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Jonas Brothers. I took her to Jonas Brothers. Did I say Rihanna already? We saw
Yeah.
Rihanna. We saw
Rihanna.
Ed Sheeran. Used to saw Pitbull with Enrique Iglesias a couple times. Saw LMFAO. Saw Kesha. And
Mm-hmm.
this is all when they were in their prime,
Yeah.
you know. And then there's a thing here called Jingle Ball,
Yeah.
and there's a like oh, it's not iced tea. Oh my gosh. I'm can't think of the name.
Ice Cube.
No, no. Oh, 50 Cent.
Okay.
So we saw 50 Cent and a bunch of so many bands that were popular at that time that I can't think off the top of my head. 311.
That's for that kind of music. Miami's great. South
Yes.
Florida's great.
Yes.
For good music, not so good.
Well, so
I
yes.
shouldn't say that. Yeah.
For popular music.
Yeah.
Well, we took Nathan to see Chris Cornell down in Miami.
Yeah.
And that was
That was awesome. That
right
was
before
amazing.
he passed away.
Yeah.
So I'm so grateful for that.
And
That
all
was
acoustic Chris Cornell
Mhm.
at the Jackie Gleason Theater. Yeah, that was amazing.
yeah,
That was so cool
amazing.
because that was an actual like a concert hall, a symphony type of hall,
Mhm.
and he played acoustically there. I forgot about that. That was amazing.
Yeah, that was wonderful. And it's awesome that he came down this far
Yeah.
because so many people don't.
Yeah.
So it's funny because when people come down to South Florida, everyone goes. You're so excited that
Yeah.
there's someone here. And then Kaya, of course, likes Lana Del Rey, and she's
Mhm.
played me a lot of her stuff. I haven't seen her, but I really like her stuff.
Mhm.
Kaya's gone to a lot of country concerts because they come down here.
Yeah.
Um, but she's seen a lot of stuff on her own, as has Nathan. So I forgot about that whole time.
Yeah.
When anyone that came, we went.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, you would organize it. You guys would
Yeah.
get a bunch of girls and other moms and
Yeah, it was
go.
fun.
Yeah.
Oh, Demi Lovato. I'm trying to think. I don't think we ever saw Selena Gomez. We never saw Justin Bieber. Could never get tickets to that. But it was that time. It was that 2009 or 10 or even 2008 to 2012, 13. I don't know. It's just that time frame. There was so much going on.
Yeah.
So we saw it all. I'm
Yeah.
sure I'm forgetting people that we saw. But it was great and it was fun. So we had that time together, and that was mainly her and I.
Yeah.
So it's like mother-daughter.
Yep.
We've talked about that when One Direction reunites, because they will, I'm going. I said, I don't care if you and your friends are going. I'm coming because I
Yeah,
went
yeah.
to every concert.
Yeah.
And Harry Styles she just saw Louis Tomlinson, but Harry Styles, we weren't able to get tickets to.
Oh, really?
So they were very expensive.
They're all very expensive now. Yeah.
It was too much. So I'm willing to pay high to a certain extent, but then
Yeah.
it's ridiculous. Same with Taylor Swift.
I remember, back in the day in the mid '80s, you could get tickets for $20 or something.
Yep.
And I remember I went to a show saw the Dead at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. Drove down from New Jersey. It was like 2.5 hours. We get there and there's scalpers selling tickets for, I think we bought 2 tickets for $60 each. And I was like, man, this is expensive.
Yeah.
Turned out to be one of my favorite shows. They did a second set, Scarlet Fire, and the whole place was bouncing around and you could feel the whole stadium moving.
Mhm.
But it was, $60 back then was like, man, this is crazy.
Mhm.
These
Mhm.
guys are greedy.
Mm-hmm.
Now $60 is what Ticketmaster sells them for, and the aftermarket's probably 160, or 560 bucks, whatever it might be.
There's nothing that Ticketmaster sells for $60. The cheapest you're gonna find is I don't even know,
Well,
maybe
it's 60
80.
before fees and taxes and local corruption, and now you're up to 160 bucks.
I haven't seen even 60 as a starting price on anything.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. We used to go to concerts for $10. Yeah, it depending on who you were going to see. If it was a smaller venue or something,
Yeah.
10, $15. It's hard to believe.
Actually, this is I wanted to ask you about this, and I'll start it off with to your point. We used to see concerts for free. So growing up in the New York metropolitan area, we had a place. What the hell's the name of the place? It's going to escape me. Waterloo Village. So I got to see like Steve Miller Band there, the Allman Brothers, Blues Traveler, Three Dog Night, um, and for free. And what we would do is this is crazy, and this is I'm curious. Well, I'll plant the seed so you think about local. Each area, or say metropolitan area, that everybody's kind of got probably some stories about their local music scene. But what we used to do, we'd go to Waterloo Village, and and this is in high school. They had these little snow fence type of thing. We call them snow fences. They're like the wood lath with the metal, just this temporary thing. You unroll it and stand it up, and now you've got a fence. Um, what we would do is you'd go to these concerts. We'd get pretty drunk as, high schoolers, but you'd wait till somebody that you didn't know that wasn't part of your group hop the fence and make a run for it. And then all the New Jersey State Troopers would converge on that person. And once they did that, that's your chance to hop the fence and make your own run. That was a local thing. That was like a thing to do. Um, Another thing, and that was a lot of fun. We saw a lot of good music. But another fun thing that you got to experience is going to see the Dead at Madison Square Garden and driving to Hoboken, parking, getting on the path, taking the train over to what was it, like the 33rd Street station, I think. Then you get out and you walk and you go see the Dead, and it's a whole scene there. Then you come out and you reverse it all, right, at 1, 2 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So phenomenal experiences. Thousands of people did that over probably dozens of years. Do you have anything like that, say, in Portland? I kind of doubt it, but maybe you do.
Nothing that I can think of. I mean, the country fair obviously is the traditional
Country Fair is a good
thing.
one, yeah.
Yeah, that's the traditional gathering in Oregon, but you don't really sneak into that. I'm sure there's people that have snuck
I'm not
into
even
it.
saying the sneak in part is just an aspect of it,
Yeah.
but the kind of like that whole going to see the Dead in the Garden. No one lives in Manhattan, so you're going into the city, and everyone would converge, whether you're in Long Island or Westchester County or Sussex County, New Jersey, or Morristown or whatever. There was a way to get there, and then you had this common convergence of people there, and then you would all spread and go back to wherever you came from. The closest maybe is like the Bay Area, right? When
I mean, I would think the country fair is, I mean, as far as, no, nothing in Oregon like that, because in Portland, you would just go to the venue that where it was Memorial Coliseum,
Yep.
and that's where or
So you just
the
drive down there type of thing, or
yeah.
there's no real public transportation, I
No.
guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Max showed up, but no, everyone drove. And Max was the, what do you call it? Not the
Do you think what
trial.
I'm describing is maybe unique to the New York metro area then?
Well, I mean, probably happens here in Miami when there's somebody playing at Hard Rock or down there.
Yeah.
Then you have people coming from all areas, you know, because I mean, I don't know. I guess in Portland, it was a smaller area. So even if you are coming from the suburbs, you didn't feel the convergence in that
Yeah.
same way. Just because I don't know. I didn't notice it. It could have been
Yeah.
happening. I didn't notice anything like that. The only time I really recognized the convergence as you're talking about is the Oregon Country Fair,
Mm-hmm.
or when Jerry died, the concert at Golden Gate
Yeah.
Park, which I went to that.
Yeah.
And that was a whole bunch of different performers, and and also when no, I'm sorry, that wasn't when Jerry died. That was when Bill
Bill
Graham
Graham.
died.
Yeah.
When Bill Graham died, a whole bunch of performers
Yeah.
came, and there was a convergence to Golden Gate, to San Francisco, and to Golden Gate Park. I saw
Yeah.
it. I
Yeah.
witnessed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
When Jerry died, we just went down to downtown Portland, and there was a gathering there. But no, not whenever there was a concert. I'm sure it happens in bigger cities.
Probably. And that's where
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. Cause I remember we passed through Buffalo when we were up in that area, and it was a Sunday afternoon,
Yeah.
and we're like 100 miles outside of Buffalo at a rest stop getting gas, and there's all these people in their Buffalo Bills jackets.
Yeah.
They were either going or coming to the game. I have a feeling maybe that was a local thing, like growing up 50 miles, 45 miles outside of New York, and you go to school, you get out of school at 2:20. Who's driving? And because we're gonna go see the Dead, and we're driving to Hoboken, we're taking the train over, and that was just a thing. It was just a thing that's how you did it. And I'm sure there's examples of that, but
I don't know. I
maybe a
mean,
local phenomenon.
when the Dead was in town, they were in Eugene, which was like 2.5 hours or whatever. You would drive there, and you would drive past people that had Dead
Yeah, yeah.
stickers on their cars and honk at each other and stuff.
Yep.
But it was all driving.
Yeah.
None of it was in a subway or
Yeah.
anything like that. And even driving down to the Bay Area, you would drive past people with Dead stickers and you would wave to them. Yes. That's probably the closest.
Yeah, yeah.
The West Coast is just so much more spread out and
Yeah, yeah.
vast,
Yeah.
I guess, than the Northeast.
We did have what you're describing. I went to a show in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and drove up the 95 from Jersey to 95. So that whole thing, you see Deadhead stickers on cars, or
Mhm.
people are passing you, you're passing them, type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's definitely a community. And when I see Dead stickers now, I'm like, oh yeah, we are everywhere. That's the saying, right?
Yeah.
So, and again, that's the thing that's stayed with us. I would say with marriage and with raising children, there's so many ups and downs, and there's so many variables, and there's so many different experiences and so many seasons of life. And I would say the one constant for us has been our love of the Grateful Dead. That music has sustained us
Hmm.
through it all. We can always come back to that. It's always the positive, happy place to come back to, especially if we're listening to it live somewhere. It's like a realignment, a readjustment, a reset
Hmm.
every time. And I know mentally it has saved me a lot of times. So, and I'm sure that people feel that way about other music. And then there's people that don't relate to music in that way.
Hmm.
And I can't imagine going through life without having that. And it's something that I feel we've given our children. I really do. They know music's important, and it's vital in their own lives.
Yeah.
For themselves.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So I think that wraps up our little discussion about music.
Yeah.
Today. Hopefully someone out there was able to relate to what we were saying.
I would love to hear other people's stories related to kind of what I'm describing, of how we would go to school knowing we're going to go see a concert that night. It could be the Dead. We used Crosby, Stills and Nash, Pink Floyd, anything we went to in New York, or that giant stadium metropolitan area.
Mhm.
We had a routine. You kind of got your routine down. I'm curious if in other metropolitan areas, or just people in general, if they had those same type of things. It's part of
Yeah.
who I am, and so I'm curious. Would love to hear stories about that or whatever.
I mean, I feel like whenever we would go to a Grateful Dead show, as you got closer to the show, you felt the convergence. I mean, I know when
Yeah.
I went to Arizona, I drove from Oregon to Arizona, and I didn't feel that convergence
I don't know
until
if
I
it's
got
as
close to
I
the venue.
I don't know if it's as much of a convergence as it is there's only so many ways to get there,
Mm.
and there's just everybody there. Because when the Dead would let out, shows let out at the Garden, you're getting on the path, and there is a last train, so you
Mhm.
kind of got to get there.
Mhm.
And it's after the show, people are still either tripping, they're high, they're drunk, or
Yeah.
whatever. So you go underground, you're in the subways, you're down there with a bunch of people who
Yeah.
are all in different states of mind with this collective experience we just had,
Yeah.
and they're all kind of piecing it together. So it's kind of
That's
that.
interesting.
Yeah,
No, I don't, I can't relate to that at all growing up in Oregon.
yeah. No, it's a
I'd be
interesting phenomenon.
curious if people that grew up in the Bay Area do
Hmm.
relate to that. They have Bart. But I don't know, that
I don't know if
I
Bart's
don't
a
think it's the
central.
same thing.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think that feels very Northeast, or at least maybe just New York.
could be.
Because even Miami, you have people just drive. They take the tri rail. Now, I bet if after a concert, if you take the tri rail or what's the one that we have down here that goes really fast?
Oh, we have Tri-Rail and we have Brightline.
Brightline.
Yeah,
So if you get on one of those,
maybe.
I bet you're on there with after a concert with a bunch of other people like you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
But so many people drive
yeah.
because I don't know. So I
We don't
don't.
have a great transportation system. Well, we do actually. Art or Tri-Rail and Brightline's pretty good, but
It's
you
just so big here.
I bet people in Chicago maybe have that because
Yeah,
Chicago's got all the
they have the
trains
L.
going in. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know. It'd be interesting.
yeah,
So if anyone out there would love to comment and share their
yeah,
experience, we would love to hear it.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Take it easy.